ask Andrew Stevenson to read this motion first, and then we will discuss afterwards.
Okay, well, thank you, Lord Armand. Good evening, gentlemen. I'd just like to say, ladies, sorry. I'd just like to say before I start that I met Mr. Shahbaz Bhatti in January when I was over in Pakistan with Simon and the cross-party delegation of British MPs, and it was incredibly tragic news, not just for Pakistani Christians but for all Pakistanis when he was murdered. The early day motion that I tabled in the House of Commons that has already received cross-party support from all parties in the House reads as follows. This House condemns the assassination of Shahbaz Bhatti, the Pakistani Minister for Minorities, who was the only Christian in the Cabinet. Notes that this comes only days after the government of Pakistan's retention of a minorities representative in the new Cabinet and the Minister for Minority Affairs as an independent ministry. Recognises the significant advances made in the interests of minority rights and interfaith dialogue by the Federal Minister Shahbaz Bhatti through this ministry. Expresses concern at the ongoing misuse of the provisions of Section 295 of the Pakistani Penal Code, known as the blasphemy laws, and the threats posed to all who challenge this legislation, and urges the Government of Pakistan to reconsider reviewing the blasphemy laws as a matter of urgency. That motion is therefore members of all parties to sign to join in the condemnation of Shahbaz Bhatti's death and the issues arising out of it.
Andrew, thank you very much. I think you will agree that all of us, and including a majority, the masses in Pakistan, know that the blasphemy laws have been misused, abused in fact, by a small minority who want to pursue their own agenda for many reasons. Either because they have personal vendetta, they have some sort of problem locally which they use and abuse, and it is the most misused piece of legislation in Pakistan. And it's for that reason. Look, I'm a Muslim, and nobody, and my identity as a Muslim is something which is known around the world, and particularly in this house. James, my friend, who is a Christian leader here in the UK, a former mayor, he knows that when we talk as Christian and Muslim, we stand together. But we know that in Pakistan there have been a small minority that abuses law for their own benefit. And that's why persecution of any minority in Pakistan will not be accepted and should not be tolerated. We are united in paying our respect to Shahbaz Bhatti and also making this known to the whole of Pakistan. The Christian minorities, the Christian communities, the Sikh communities, the Hindu communities of Pakistan are just as equal members of Pakistani society like any Muslim or believer or non-believer. So there is nobody who could say, I remember members of parliament, IG Sahab, when I was on a TV program when the anchor said to me that Christians living in our country, I said no, it is their country. They don't live in your country, Pakistan is their country. So nobody should say Christians, because if people say to me, Muslims living in my country, well, this is my country too. So it's not, you know, they have to be actually be very precise. The Christians in Pakistan, Sikhs in Pakistan, Hindus in Pakistan make just as bigger contribution as the Muslims, and so nobody has the sole right on Pakistan. So any persecution or any targeting of any minority on the basis of religion should not be accepted and should not be tolerated. And I say this as, and I say this as a British parliamentarian of a Pakistani Kashmiri origin. I said this to Pakistan. We, the diaspora, give Last year we gave $14 billion in foreign exchange to Pakistan. This year it will be $12 to $13 billion. That's twice the amount of United States will give over the next 4 years. If the US for $1.5 billion can dictate to Pakistan government, we demand diaspora Pakistanis that we should be listened to and should be respected more than any other power around the world for the contribution that we make. And because we do it for the love of our country of origin, not because we have any benefits or we demand any benefits from that country. And so therefore it's very important, because I know the pens were going and that's very important that I should have said that. I think next I will ask Simon Danchuk, because he has a meeting of I think Manchester Police that he has to go to. So the floor is to you, Simon. Yeah.
I'll just speak from here.
Yeah, they'll bring the cameras to you.
It's always very difficult following Lord Nazir Ahmed in terms of speaking, but I'm delighted to be here. And the first thing that I wanted to say is thank you for arranging this meeting, because it gives me the opportunity to pay my respects to Shahbaz Bhatti. And as Andrew Stevenson, the Member of Parliament for Pendle, said earlier, he is someone who we had the opportunity to meet just weeks ago. In a personal capacity, we got the chance to meet him one-to-one, face-to-face, and have a very detailed conversation about politics in Pakistan. And it saddens me to be here a few weeks later to find that he's been murdered in the way that he has. So it gives me great pleasure to be able to pay my respects in a formal way, as I do now. There is no doubt about it that he had a very important part to play in terms of Pakistani politics, because he had responsibility as a minister for minorities, not just in terms of religion, but in terms of many other aspects, in terms of the minorities that exist in all countries. And he was fulfilling that role in a very professional manner, and it saddens me that he should have been attacked in the way that he has. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to pay my respects and to be able to come along today. Thank you.
Thank you, Simon. And I'm very grateful to my friend Richard Harrington, Member of Parliament for Watford, who I know is travelling like Anas Sarwar is, but he still nevertheless has attended this meeting. The floor is yours, Richard.
Thank you very much. And you said, Simon, that it was difficult to follow Lord Ahmed, and it's very difficult to follow you and Lord Ahmed. It's even more difficult. But we are here for a serious matter, to pay respects to Mr. Bhatti, who I did not know. I've read his biography, and I was hoping to meet him on his next parliamentary visit here. But what I do know, and we would all agree, that it's very wrong for anybody to be assassinated for a political purpose or any other purpose. But it's particularly wrong for a minority, because all modern countries have to show their pluralism. And many countries in the world don't. And it's the deep hope of all of us supporters of Pakistan, and actually Kashmir, which is a different issue, that they can be pluralistic, and that people who want to wish harm to people who are from another religion or another tribal group, another family, or any form of difference, that they should lose their lives or indeed be persecuted for that. Many of us in this country are immigrants in different ways, or our parents, grandparents, great-grandparents came from different countries. And this country has been able to give people, I'm not saying necessarily wealth or affluence, although hopefully to an increasing number it will, but certainly a secure life and peace to travel to put forward their religion in peace and also their political views. And I hope, as one who feels a lot for Pakistan, I hope in the future for ordinary people in Pakistan that they will be able to live their lives in the way that we're used to, not just materially, but in a way that they can put forward their religious views and their political views. And great champions of the country like yourself, Lord Ahmed, I know this is a real feeling of yours, And one of the many things I respect about you is the way that you are able to be very proud to be British, very proud to be Pakistani, very proud, and very proud to be Japanese. And I respect that a lot. And I think that should be a model to so many people. And if people conduct their lives around this table in this room, in the memory of Mr. Bhatti, from what I know, it would not be a bad thing at all. And we should all stand up for freedom in the future, and let's just hope that things work out the right way in Pakistan, so that people of all religions and all groups are represented in government. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I just want to say, before I ask Andrew Griffiths to speak, that the evil people who killed Shahbaz Bhatti also the same ones killed the governor of Punjab, Mr. Tasir, as well. And so it's not a Christian thing as such, but also they killed a Muslim. They don't have, these people don't have a faith themselves. So it's any faith in anybody. So now it's my pleasure to ask my good friend Andrew Griffiths, Member of Parliament from Burton-on-Trent, to speak.
Thank you, Lord Nazir. And I've just come back from a parliamentary delegation headed by Lord Nazir Ahmed, and including Richard and Simon, where we visited Pakistan and Azad Kashmir. And I know from that visit how forcefully Lord Nazir Ahmed speaks up on behalf of the people of Pakistan and Kashmir. And I've heard Richard and Simon speak about the issues that affect the people of Pakistan and Kashmir regularly. But I think we'd all agree that he spoke with great passion and force today, because this is a hugely important issue. I think we all recognise that. Now, I represent Burton-on-Trent, and I have about 4,500 Pakistani and Kashmiri constituents. And I work very closely with them. As a Christian Member of Parliament, I work immensely closely with my friends in the Muslim community in Burton. And I often say to them that I am proud to be a friend of Pakistan. I'm proud to be a friend of Kashmir. But I think I speak as a critical friend when I say that none of us, be they you Christian or Muslim, can be proud of the actions of a few small people, of a small few people who pointlessly and needlessly took the life of Shahbaz Bhatti. Now, I have a personal connection, because just 3 weeks ago I was due to be hosting a roundtable event with Shahbaz Bhatti here in Parliament, and it was only because of the political situation in Pakistan that he was forced to abandon the trip to the UK, and we were never able to hold that meeting. And I did ponder, when I heard the terrible news about his assassination, that maybe if only that event had taken place, maybe he would be with us today. He wouldn't have been in that position, and his life would not have been lost so pointlessly. But I've spoken to Pakistanis and Kashmiris in my constituency about what happened. And as I said, I'm fresh with the knowledge that I learned from my recent trip with Lord Ahmed to Pakistan and Kashmir. And what I saw over there is a country that is striving for good, striving to better itself. And I spoke to politicians, but more importantly, I spoke to ordinary Pakistanis, young men and women, who are excited about the future of their country, who want to change their country for the better and make it a respected international player on the world stage. And those people, those young people, will be, I'm sure, outraged that the reputation of Pakistan can be tainted by the death of Shahbaz Bhatti. Because that sort of intolerance of a minority, that sort of intolerance of the view of an enlightened man who wanted to make life better for others, taints Pakistan. And so it is important that all of us, Pakistanis, British parliamentarians, Christian and Muslim, stand together and we stand united against the evil doers that needlessly took the life of Shahbaz Bhatti. And I hope that in years to come that we will remember that pointless act. We will remember the needless death of Shahbaz Bhatti as the turning point, the moment when Pakistan said, actually, we're not going to put up with this. we're not going to let those people hold our country back, and that it's the turning point that sees Pakistan become a more tolerant country. And so I'm delighted that the Lord Nazir Ahmed organised today's event. I'm humbled to be part of the British parliamentary delegation that pays our respects to Shahbaz Bhatti. And I'll just make you a pledge, a reassurance that we will stand shoulder to shoulder with you to bring tolerance to your country. Thank you.
I know parliamentarians have to go, but before they go, I would like to ask everyone to stand for 1 minute for silent to pay respect for Mr. Shahbaz Bhatti. That's right. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Richard. Now I'm going to ask, I know there are a number, our chief guest tonight is the Inspector General of Police from Azad Kashmir, and he will speak last. The price that the chief guest has to pay is that he always has to be the last. But before he speaks, I've got a number of speakers, and I'm going to ask James Shearer, who is an old friend but like a brother to me, an elder brother to me, who was the first Asian mayor in Rugby, in fact one of the very few Pakistani origin mayors in the United Kingdom. He is a leading figure within the Pakistani community in the United Kingdom, and certainly a great leader as far as I'm concerned from the Christian community. And I've got a number of other Christian friends here who will also speak, but if I can pass it on the floor now to James Shearer.
Thank you very much, Lord Ahmed. First of all, can I say sincere thanks to you for organizing this. You touched our heart and really soul by doing this. I remember, just tell you a little bit story, the day when it happened, first text came to me was 7 o'clock in the morning from Lord Ahmed, saying I'm deeply shocked and saddened what happened in Pakistan concerning Shahbaz Bhatti. And you could see the commitment and dedication of this man. And across the board, whether it's Christians, Hindu, Muslims, or anybody who's in this sort of situation, the test of the pudding is when the times come when people show solidarity with you. And Lord Ahmed, I'm gratefully indebted to you for arranging this today. And also, if I say in the outset to Andrew Stevenson, the Member of Parliament, for tabling the motion, I'm deeply also touched by your initiative, and I really grateful that I'll tell you, I'll start from the quotation, which is from the great philosopher of this country, William Shakespeare. He said, now the world is becoming a bad place to live in, not because of bad people, but due to silence of good people. And when good people don't say anything, don't speak the truth, don't stand up for justice and fairness, then things go, that is the worst thing we could see in this society. I have been working with Shahbaz Bhatti for the last 6-7 years, well before his time he became the Member of Parliament or the Minister. Last Sunday before Wednesday, when he died, I was on phone with him nearly half an hour together discussing various things. He was a close friend, dear friend, and very, very good leader who was working closely for the promoting the interfaith harmony and fairness and justice within this society of Pakistan and abroad. He came here 3 months ago on the invitation of Archbishop Canterbury, and I accompanied him to Wakefield and to Bradford to visit other bishops, and it was a privilege to spend some time and to listen to him when he was talking to people. How passionately, how deeply he was committed to interfaith harmony within Pakistan and outside Pakistan. And I'll tell you, his sincerity and commitment to unite Pakistan community, irrespective of their faith, and was second to none. He was a true son of Pakistan and true representative of Christian communities at home and abroad. He gave his life, but did not budge to his principal aims of achieving justice and fairness for all. He will be remembered as one of the youngest leaders who defended faith, justice, free speech, equality and democracy by giving his own life. He will be remembered as a true son of Pakistan who served Pakistan at home and abroad with total vigor and devotion. He will be remembered as the ideal icon and role model to Christian communities, who did not give preference to his own life, but stood firm to his principal causes, whilst many people have abandoned the core principle in order to save their lives. And you know that many times we touch this blasphemy law, saying not to change the law, but actually to make sure the misuse or abuse of the law should be made clear. Today, with the way passionately you spoke, and if I was delighted to come, these words was coming from your real mouth, that how passionately the good Muslims of the country and leaders like you are actually campaigning vigorously against the injustices that have been implanted and imposed on us within our society. How many times we will pour blood in the country before actually the politicians, the people and the religious leaders will realize that something needs to be done. The time has come, it's not going to be done, it's not going to be done by politicians, rather that you and me, we the people, the citizens of this country, citizens of the world and citizens of Pakistan, we have to stand up against those people who are trying to hijack the morality, hijack the civilization, good manners and ethics of our society. Pakistan is a great country, and you know always I carry the flag of the country with pride and joy. And while living here, being proud to be a British, at the same time I am proud to have Pakistan heritage. And the fact is this, these sad news and the most shocking news should not dent us and our hope and aspirations for good society. If we give up, then what happens to other people who are going to be suffering from these people? So we should stand up to all those people whose aims and objectives are to dent religion, country, the civilization of the country, and moral values and ethics of the society. And you know very well, Pakistan is, majority of people in Pakistan have been shocked along with the international community. No country in the world which actually has not been touched by the warmth and the goodwill which was propagated by this minister so vigorously throughout his life and throughout his last 10 years or 3 years as a minister. I think we not only as a Christian communities are mourning, the whole world is mourning, and the whole Lord Hammond, you have expressed very strongly and very passionately and very in a grief manner how you felt this pain and which is inflicted on all of us. We as a Pakistani, whether we are living in Pakistan or here, must not give oxygen to those elements of the society who actually celebrate and throw flowers and other things to celebrate their own successes. They are not celebrating the successes, they are actually celebrating something demise of Pakistan, which we must not allow them to take pride in it. The time has come that we should be honest, we should not be hypocrite. The Shakespeare who said 300-400 years ago that those people who are silent, they are the worst ones than the bad people. We need to stand up. And like our Member of Parliament, I'm so proud of all of them, those who turned up their commitment and dedication for all and love for Pakistan, and they would like to see Pakistan an ideal state which was created by our leader Muhammad Jinnah. I do not want to see Pakistan become Al-Qaeda's Pakistan. I want to see Pakistan who was there to defend the rights of all who are going to reside in it. The Qaid speech on 11th of August in the Parliament, and when he said that you are free to go to churches, free to go to your mosque or temple, religion has nothing to do with the business of the state. And I think the time has come until we realize that religion cannot be imposed on people and cannot be dictated. It is a free will and free will of individual concern. And we need to be good. First of all, James Shearer needs to be good himself before he could actually preach other people to be decent and good human beings. We are using bullets rather than ballot boxes to express our views and our aspirations. If we believe in democracy is a free will. Nobody on earth, and nobody in Pakistan in particular, would commit blasphemy against Prophet, peace be upon him. Because everyone, we would not do anything against any Maulana or religious leader or any big leaders. People's societies, their ethics and values are very respectable, and we always respect and adore and salute and respect people's religious leadership and political leadership. How could the poorest of the poor would actually commit a crime which could go against them within the society and within their own tribe or within their own area? I'm saying to you this is a cry from a Christian who is actually living here for the last 40 years. And who's actually, you all know that all of you, the Muslim brothers and sisters, have worked closely with me, and I have worked closely with you. I'm saying to you, appealing to you, stand up to it. Don't let these people to win. These people are not, you remember that when the things were happening against minorities in Germany, and the Jewish community said it's not our turn. And at the end, their turn also came out. They are blowing our mosques. They are blowing our holy places in Pakistan. They are not forgiving anybody. As Lord Ahmad said, they killed the governor, Tasir, 2-3 months ago, and he was a Muslim. Anybody who should preach, and when Lord Ahmad was saying so openly thing, and I was thinking, God help that he is safe and so on. And I think the time has come. We must not be selfish and defend our own self. We should defend the faith, defend the values, traditions, and good deed of the country. Thank you.
Very important words from Councillor James Shearer. Very important. That nobody would even think of speaking against the Prophet, peace be upon him. Nobody. This law is used and abused for their own purposes. These are the evil people who do it. Nobody is suggesting that there should not be a law that should protect the prophets and the holy scriptures. But the very fact that people use and abuse in particular, for their own political purposes is the reason why we are here today. And my next speaker is, I want to say thank you in advance to Barrister Abad Hussain, although Agha Tanveer suggested first that we should have a meeting. But I can see from the faces here from Waltham Forest, Walthamstow, all areas in East London, that the majority of people have been invited, and this meeting has been organized by Barrister Abad Hussain. So thank you, Barrister Saab, and the floor is yours.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد. Our host, Lord Nazir Ahmed, my dear friend Andrew Stevenson, Chair of the All-Parliamentary Group on Pakistan and Vice Chair of the Conservative Party, my dear friend Andrew Griffiths, I welcome our Chief Guest, the IG of South Kashmir, Dr. Tariq Khokar, James Shearer, Lord Gurban of Luton, and all of you guests that have come today, in particular Agha Tanveer Sahib from the People's Party, Raja Ilyas from the largest Sunni mosque in Waltham Forest, General Secretary of Waltham Forest Islamic Association, all the business and community leaders. We've got a broad spectrum of the Pakistani community, the public sector, voluntary sector and the business community that have come today to pay tribute to Shahbaz Bhatti and also to welcome our chief guest, Dr. Tariq Kokar. Dr. Tariq Saab has kindly become the chief guest. We wanted to do a reception in his honour, but when he found out that we were laying this event on Lord Saab for Shahbaz Bhatti, he said he would want to be a part of it and we would welcome him the chief guest, and we're going to hear from him later. James talks about William Shakespeare, but in every writer I've come across, philosopher, Edmund Burke, William Wordsworth, William Shakespeare, in all their writings they echo this: for evil to prevail, all that is required is for the good to remain silent. And even in the teachings of Islam, يَأْمَرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ, enjoin the good and forbid the evil. And we should try to, at least the weakest level of iman is to have hatred in our hearts for the evildoers. Now, the Prophet, may peace be upon him, he said, anyone who harms an Ahl al-Zimmi, a minority, is as if he has harmed me, and I shall bear witness against him on the Day of Judgment. So, we have teachings in Islam, as you have through all the scriptures, with regards to respect, and the Prophet, may peace be upon him, through the Islamic civilization taught tolerance. Because you can see today, even whether it's Pakistan or the Middle East, you have synagogues and churches side by side with mosques, and these are the learnings of religious text. It is when we ourselves want to have a particular viewpoint and want to reshape things, as Lord Saab said, to deliver our own agenda, that we start to then interact in society with that mindset, and it causes harm. So I pay tribute to all of the Pakistani community, whether they be Christian or Muslim, our guests here that have come to pay tribute to Shahbaz Bhatti. I want to welcome the Inspector General. I know he's had a long and hectic schedule, but one thing I can say, and I applaud him for, is the law and order situation in Kashmir. We too have the Sikh community living in Kashmir. We have Christian communities and other communities, and I congratulate you. To this day in Kashmir we've not seen the intolerance, and that's because you, sir, are doing a great job with other members of the Kashmiri government. And I hope that some of the models of best practice that we've got established in Kashmir can be translated to other areas of Pakistan, Punjab, Sindh, Balochistan, etc. And I want to take the opportunity just to briefly mention that the Inspector General will be talking about law and order, but also be talking about overseas Pakistanis and what he will be doing in his office. I know he's had a meeting with the Cabinet Minister, with Lord Ahmed, the Right Honourable Saeed Awasi, on some of these issues, and I'm going to be delighted to hear from him with regards to overseas Pakistanis and law and order situation. And on that note, I want to thank all of you for coming here again, but especially Lord Ahmed. He always picks the baton up for social justice wherever he sees wrong. He does not discriminate in terms of belief, creed or colour. He picks up the baton, and I echo the words of Richard and other colleagues. He is a man that's staunch in his views, yes, staunchly Muslim, staunchly British, staunchly Pakistani, staunchly Kashmiri, but above all, staunchly about human rights and about his own. And that's why sometimes I say to Lord Ahmed, people like you sacrifice ministerial portfolios, but I think more important is the open and honest word that we find in him than any ministerial portfolio. I thank you all, and I thank you once again.
Barrister Ahmed Saab, thank you so much. I will pay you later for the wonderful words that you've said about me. I want to say thank you to parliamentarians really for attending this meeting at a very short notice, and all of you. And our next speaker is Daniel Fernand, who is going to...
Ferman.
Ferman. Oh, sorry.
My misspelling.
His misspelling. Daniel, the floor is yours.
I'm very much privileged, and I just want to say thanks to Lord Ahmed and all the friends. Mr. I forgot his name. He said great things about you. Everybody is applauding you. And I just want to say thanks for giving us opportunity, Christians, to come and have a say. Whichever way we come, it's all coming back to 295C. And that's the reason Shahbaz Bhatti was gunned down. Suleiman Tasir was gunned down. Shantinagar was burned. Gojra was burned. Innocent lives for people, children were burned in Gojra. I've been there, I've seen that. And the reason it's all happening, all this is happening in Pakistan because of Section 295C. Like you said, you've been helping Pakistan $14 billion. And next time, I mean, people are helping, America and you, and please, I just want to beg the international community to intervene. Do something about this Section 295C, because if we say, Mulanas, 36 Mulanas say, it doesn't say anywhere in Quran that 295C is al-Hami, or whatever it says, that this is from God. This is not from God. This is man-made Section 295C to settle their personal. Zia, dictator, he introduced that law, and ever since that's becoming a common practice to settle their accounts with Christians. Everybody knows it. There's nobody in Pakistan or elsewhere who doesn't know what's happening in Pakistan. But things are carrying on and on and on. Anybody wants to say something, Mulanas, they put up a shutdown strike. The whole Pakistan was shut down. Millions and billions of dollars were wasted. But next day, what happened? Everybody from President Zardari, Prime Minister, everyone, leaders of the community, all the parties, they came, appeared on the television and said, no, that wasn't 295C. There's no amendment. We never even spoke about it. And especially the person, Shahbaz Bhatti, was gunned down because of the committee was organized to abolish this law, to discuss about this law. How can we amend this or make any changes? People who want to abuse it, how can we tackle them? And unfortunately, he had to pay with his life. Molanas are strong. Everybody knows. If you're talking about that we have to abolish this law, something has to be done from this end. Parliamentarians or European Parliament, American influence, European influence, something has to be done now. Otherwise, this thing will carry on and on and on. Notice left on his body, dead body, that if you carry on things like that, you will pay the price. People are scared to go to the churches. And this is becoming common practice. Anybody can just kill somebody and leave the letter there. This will happen to the next man. Dear sir, I want to beg you, on behalf of Pakistani minority in Pakistan, because the way the situation is, people will start fleeing from Pakistan. One of our parliamentarians, our sister Asian Nasser, yesterday, day before, in her speech, she showed her concern that if things will carry on like that, eventually Pakistan, Christians, they have no choice, but they have to leave. And all of whatever you want to speak about, everything come back to 295C. You can speak about anything, pick up anything, what's happening to the Christians. The whole thing, the culprit is Section 295C. And if this thing continues, I just want to beg the parliamentarians who are here, people who have left, I just want to say, if this carry on, it will be rather better that we flee and we will seek refugee status in this country. This is imminent that things will carry on. Without going any further, I just want to thank you again and everybody else for coming and listening to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Daniel. 2 points that I want to make quickly before I ask the next speaker. One is that Pakistan has suffered immensely from terrorism. 30,000 people have been killed in the last 3 or 4 years. And the masses, the thousands of them, have been Muslims. So it's not Christians alone. I know somebody from High Wycombe who is a Muslim, British Muslim, who is serving a sentence under blasphemy law in Jhelum. And I know a number of other Muslims who are, so it's not just Christians, this law is being abused. So that's why it's important. 295C is not only just used against Christians, but other people as well, and it's for personal vendettas. And so we need to make that clear, that this is not about, it's the misuse of it as well. Now we have a Christian leader, Mr. Wilson Chowdhury, who would like to say a few words. So if you, a young man, you want to speak from wherever you are, just very briefly, because we have other speakers as well.
That's not cool, sorry. It's okay. I was going to give a short thesis about the great man himself, Shahbaz Bhatti. Obviously, we all know how much of a progressive statesman he was, a great humanitarian. That's why we're all here today, because the shockwaves that have been created as a consequence of his death, have reverberated internationally. Well, that international condemnation has at least done one thing for our nation. Look at us all here, united, opposing the extremism that has hijacked our country. The one thing I really want to put some reflections on how much of a commitment he had and determination to see through the positive Pakistan. Before dying, in that video film, we heard him say, "I only want to place at the feet of Jesus. I want my life, my character, my actions to speak for me and to say that I'm a follower of Christ." And that the sacrifice this man has given in his life for his nation, Pakistan. And that wasn't just for the minorities. He spoke for all people. He spoke for equality, freedom and justice. He's a national hero, and I think we all have to accept that now. 3 days mourning has been commissioned by the government of Pakistan. It's a great step forward, a finally a Christian to be recognised for the work that he's done. But what I need, historically, we need to recognise that Christians have a great input into the formation of Pakistan. S.P. Singh, it was him as the spokesperson, speaker for the Punjab province that created Pakistan by voting for its creation when there was a stalemate. And there's been various army officials, there's been aviation, members of the legal profession in senior ranking places, and yet often it's forgotten that minorities have had such input in designing and building the wonderful country that still is in Pakistan. Our focus here now has to be, how do we benefit and grow from the situation we're at? How do we use this death as a vehicle for positive change in Pakistan? Again, I need to bring you back to some of the history. We talked about the blasphemy law, and you've made a suggestion that there is a significant amount of Muslims that are themselves caught up in the trap that is the personal vendetta used by usurpers of that rule. However, what you need to understand is that 40% of those victims are Christians. And as a 2% minority, that does not equate to a level pegging even in that disastrous element of blasphemy charges. So, we do need to, in particular, focus on how to address the minority issue. But I met with the High Commissioner on Friday, and a positive comment that came from him is, why do we call them minorities? Why are Christians minorities? Why are they not termed equal citizens of Pakistan? There are constitutional issues. There are constitutional issues that need to be resolved until that equality can be seen. God of any nature will not need man's laws to protect his name or protect his position. We know that. God, whoever he is divine in nature. We all know this. So these blasphemy laws, which are un-Quranic despotism and are used by usurpers of authority, need to be removed so that we can see an equal society. Why to this day must civilians of Pakistan detail their faith in their passports? Is that not a form of labelling? Does that not introduce a second-class citizenship is not being used against them in employment opportunities, in other opportunities, education opportunities. That's something we need to remove. But again, when these abuses of the blasphemy law occur, why is it we never see in Pakistan Section 135 of the Pakistan Penal Code being used? Where they can a law exists that protects people from abuses of the law, especially when it incites people to hatred. It's never been used. I'll be very quick now, it's been ended. The British Pakistani Christian Association believes that if we're going to respect this man and the work that he's done, we've got to follow through in his achievements. He has put the blasphemy law on the agenda. Why not return it to its original design, designed by the British in 1827 to protect Muslims from the majority Hindu population, where it protected people of all faiths, had a maximum sentence of 2 years or a fine. Surely it should return to a public order offence rather than a blasphemy law. That's what we need to see if we're going to see positive change in Pakistan. 2 quotes I have to add at the end of his speech. I'll rush through this. Edmund Burke, what did he say? All that it takes for evil to conquer is for good men to stay silent. Salman Taseer and Shahbaz Bhatti have proven that if you carry on that fight, you will be seen and you can see those things through to fruition. We need to pursue that. What did Gandhi say? You must be the change you wish to see in this world. And I challenge everybody here, why not be the change you want to see in the world? If you want to see a more peaceful, prosperous, equal, just Pakistan, then you be those people to speak up and ask for that change, because nobody else will. I'll leave that in your hands, sir.
I think probably we prefer Jinnah's quotes than Gandhi's quote in this particular context. But anyway, thank you very much. That was a very good speech. I know Lord Qurban Hussain needs to go, and so I'm going to ask him to speak, and then I've got a few, 2 or 3 brief speakers, and then the Inspector General of Police, Lord Qurban Hussain.
Thank you very much, Lord Ahmed, Inspector General of Police, Member of Parliament, friends, Assalamu alaikum, and good evening to you all. Thank you very much for organising this meeting and inviting me to this. I will be very, very brief indeed. I've got to go to the meeting. Can I first of all say that this event that is taking place today to pay tribute to Mr. Shahbaz Bhatti, I think it was a cold-blooded murder. That's what it was. And nobody here knows that at all in any shape or form. I think it's a murder. It has to be condemned, and we'll ask the Pakistani authorities to do everything that they can to capture the culprits and bring them to justice. I think one thing that I am saddened to see day by day, after leaving the country some 40 years ago, that the people in the country are losing patience in their day-to-day lives. And the lawlessness that is increasing in the country is worrying. It's worrying for the people who live in the country, as well as people who are living outside the country. We did see some murders in those days, but what is happening in the last few years? Target killings, bomb blasts going in the mosques. People go there for praying, for God's sake, and they have been killed by other Muslims. This extremism that was gifted to us through the Cold War, I have to say that a lot of these extremists were brought by the Western interested parties who wanted a jihad against the Russian forces, and they were the ones who set up these madrasas in Afghanistan and in the border areas as well. And we are the Pakistani nation is right in the fruit of that now, that those are being used to settle their scores within the communities, whether people differ with people of different political views, religious views, or even to settle their personal scores. There are murders, there are kidnaps, there on a daily basis, and tens of thousands of people are being killed. One can name, okay, one was from a particular community, but I have to say that when I see it, it's right across the board, and it's the lawlessness that worries us all. And I think it is an important thing that the government of Pakistan needs to do something about that lawlessness. Otherwise, country is heading towards an anarchy. And I think that is a very dangerous thing to happen. We don't want Pakistan to become another Afghanistan or Rwanda or anything like that. And I think these are the few things that we need to talk to Pakistani government. But having said that, I mean, Pakistan has lost some of its big leaders like Benazir Bhutto. You know, she lost her life at the hands of these terrorists and extremists. And long before that, Ayat Muhammad Khan Sherpao, I was a young person then, he was killed in a bomb blast just because people did not agree with his political views. And this goes back as far as 70s and 80s, and now it's happening more and more and more, and it's worrying. And I have to pay tribute to to Shahbaz Bhatti, who was very outspoken, and he was a man of integrity. I think he deserves to be paid tribute. I think we all need to put pressure on the government of Pakistan. And at the same time, I have to say that I'm glad that somebody did mention that at least where, as far as Kashmir is concerned, we have that tolerant society in Kashmir. I have visited, I come from that part of the world, and I have visited Kashmir so many times, and I'm glad that the society in Kashmir is so tolerant, that all the communities are living together, and very rarely you hear of these murders or anything like that. And I hope that we can learn from Kashmir for the rest of Pakistan and bring about this brotherhood that exists in Kashmir. Hopefully it goes to all parts of Pakistan. With that, my Lord, I need to be away in the next few minutes, but I welcome the idea of police and I hope that he enjoys his visit in Britain.
Yeah, thank you very much. Before you go, we should go three speeches, but before you go, I have a small token of actually recognition of the great work that Shahbaz Bhatti has done for Pakistan. And so I'm going to ask James Shera to accept this from the British Pakistani community, and when he gets a chance to hand it over to the family of Shahbaz Bhatti, if that's okay. And Andrew, you can stand with me as chairman of the All Party Parliamentary
Please look at the camera.
Thank you very much. And whilst we've got the cameramen there, you can please take a seat there. We might as well do a presentation to the IG of Police from Barrister Roberts. Have you come here now? Because you don't know where you're coming. They are. Larsa, sorry. Yes. There you are.
Round of applause, please.
And I have also a number of gifts to present him from the House of Lords. I don't know, I don't need a photograph for this. Okay, there you go. Thank you very much. Now, two quick speeches before the Inspector General will address us. One is Raja Ilyas Sahab, who is the chairman of the largest mosque in East London, and on behalf of the Muslim community, I would like him to say a few words.
Thank you, Lord Nazir, other dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum, good evening, Sat Sri Akal. There's nothing much to say from me. When I heard this very sad news, it shocked me. Shahbaz Bhatti was a lovely young man, and he was a very good leader of Pakistan. Not only in Christian community, but also he was very popular in Muslim community also. On behalf of Waltham Forest Islamic Association and the largest Muslim community from the Waltham Forest, I condemn the assassination of Shahbaz Bhatti, and my all sympathies are with the Christian community and the Shahbaz Bhatti's family. But don't forget, this is not only the Christian who are suffering. The Muslims, before me, as so many speakers said this, the Muslims are also suffering. So many mullahs have been assassinated. So many, the Shia Muslims, they've been assassinated. So many other communities leaders been killed in bomb blast. It is a time for the Muslim, Christians, Hindus, Sikhs, all the Muslim and all the Christians, all Pakistanis, stand up and please, instead of dividing ourselves, we should stand up against these evils and save the Pakistan and save our religious leaders. Thank you very much.
Now, as I said, the first proposition actually came from Agha Tanveer, the leader of the Pakistan People's Party here, and now I'm going to ask him to be very brief, because I'm going to ask the IG and I don't want to lose the momentum.
Thank you so much,
as one of the hosts.
Thank you so much, Lard Sahab, and all the guests here. I just want to say the murder of Shahbaz is not a loss of one family or minorities, but this is a great loss to the country as well as the government. At a time when the whole nation was trying to build bridges between the believers of different faiths and sectors in order to establish peace and harmony, and that bad thing is going to happen. Islam teaches peace and tolerance and discourages any kind of extremism. Terrorists have to faith in religion rather enemy of human beings. And believe me, enemy of the country are trying to damage the peace, to create differences among political and religious leadership. I just want to end this one and say, मौत उसी की है, ज़माना करे मातम जिसका, वरना आए हैं दुनिया में तो सभी मरने के लिए. और आखिर में सिर्फ इतना ही पैगाम देना चाहूँगा कि नई सदी को नया इनकलाब देना है, हर इख्तिलाफ को मट्टी में दाब देना है. हजारों घर जले फिर भी रोशनी ना हुई, लाखों मर गए पर खत्म दुश्मनी ना हुई. आओ अब इसका मिलजुल कर हल निकाला जाए, जो कश्ती भंवर में डूब रही है उसे निकाला जाए.
Mohsen Bilal, who's hiding at the back, the editor of Daily Yusuf, to please come in and sit here next to us. Please come. Now I'm going to ask Luke Anand, who's going to speak for just 2 minutes. He says 1 minute, but I would like to ask him to please speak.
Thank you very much, Lord Ahmed and Lord Hussain. I take this opportunity not to make a speech, but just to not only pay respect to Mr. Bhatti, who's laid down his life, but if we really mean what we are here for, can I urge you, Lord Nazir, to make something of this sacrifice he has made in terms of having a strongly worded letter sent out to the Pakistani government, which I'm sure you can with the help of all your parliamentary friends, so that at least the other two people who are on the hit list can be saved. They're not Christians, but I have two famous ladies, Shari Rahman and Fawzia Wahab. We hope the IG Sahab will carry this message across to his other counterparts there in Pakistan to make sure at least these two people are protected and they're not the other victims. That's all I have to say, and if we really mean what we are here for, we will go ahead and make this thing happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and we will certainly consider this letter. As you know, Andrew has tabled this motion. I've already spoken to the media. Geo ran a story, ARY and other Venus TV and Dunia TV. In fact, I've done an interview on Dunia TV. So all these television channels as well as the print media are here, and they're taking our message very loud and clear, which has been given here, and inshallah it will be taken to Pakistan. Now it's my great pleasure really to invite the Inspector General IG Police from Azad Kashmir to speak. But before he does that, I want to say thank you to the IG Sahab because on many occasions, and I know SP Saab is here, and there are police officers who do wonderful job in Pakistan under very difficult circumstances. I was saying to IG Saab that police get criticized, and rightly so, for sometimes mismanagement and corruption. But there's corruption in political circles as well as in bureaucracy and everywhere else. But police has to bear the brunt of all the anger on the streets. Whether it is at a checkpoint and a suicide bomber comes and kills them, whether it is a robber who shoots at them, whether it is somebody else where things go wrong and they blame the police. And I was saddened to see a police officer when he was beaten up outside the courts in Lahore, when somebody actually hit him with a shoe. I was offended. I thought that the whole nation should have been offended, because that police officer, that constable was doing his job, and he was doing job for Pakistan. For me, everyone who serves Pakistan, whether he is a constable or whether he is IG, we salute him and we say thank you to him. And as diaspora Pakistanis and Kashmiris, we want to say this to everyone. But recently there was a case of a gentleman in East London, and I had never met the IG Sahib, and I asked him to have a look at his case. He was gracious and kind enough to resolve that matter, so I want to say thank you to you, sir, and welcome to the
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable Lord Ahmed, Honorable Lord Khan Sahib, my dear brothers, leaders, Mr. James, Shera, other leaders, and my very, very dear brothers and sisters of the Christian community, the representatives, respected representatives of the media, ladies and gentlemen. It is a proud privilege and a singular honor for me to be among you today, this evening, and to talk to this August gathering on the initiative, very kind initiative of Lord Ahmed. I am especially grateful to Barrister Abid Hassan for calling me to this gathering on behalf of Lord Ahmed. Today, this gathering is both a source of grief while we are mourning the sad assassination of Mr. Shahbaz Bhatti, our Federal Minister. And it is also, at the same time, something to be happy that the community is not silent. The community as a whole is responding. They are up and about, and the good people, as has been said again and again, they are no more silent. They are alive to the situation, they are responding, they are reacting, and that gives me a lot of strength and something to be optimistic about the future. If this is the state of affairs outside Pakistan, then there is a lot of encouragement for good people in Pakistan as well to rise to the occasion and to take credible steps so that these killings, terrorism is stopped as early as possible. To begin with, as Mr. Wilson Chaudhary said, I tend to agree with him that it becomes very difficult to call the Christians a minority, because they are not only our brothers and sisters, they are our flesh and blood. How can I undermine or forget what I learned from my Christian teachers in school, who not only built my knowledge, who not only imparted education to me, but also built my character? How can I forget the services provided by the Christian community in Pakistan vis-a-vis the health department? I don't think not a single member of my family is not indebted to the Christian community for providing very, very basic health care. I cannot repay the kindness of that Christian nurse who used to visit our house daily to administer an injection when my mother was sick. And not last but the least, the most important hygienic and civic duties, like the janitorial services. I was previously relating the words of Albert Einstein. He writes in his essay that he cannot repay the services of the lady who cleaned the house for him daily, despite the fact that he had given the theory of relativity to the world. So, the Christian community is very much a part of us, our community, and our hearts beat together. And we cannot be separate. Lord Nazir very beautifully put in that it is not the Christians who are being persecuted. The number of Muslims who have lost their lives is far greater during this wave of travel. I am quite optimistic that all the concerned agencies and departments, including my department, police, we are putting in as much effort as possible to bring things back to normal. And I am quite optimistic that, and I am sure that very soon we will have a very, very safe and developing Pakistan, taking strides along with the world community in the fields of economy, welfare, and upholding the rule of law. As Barrister Abid Hussain put a lot of words with regards to the very kind words. He has some basic knowledge of what we are doing as Inspector General of Police in the large in Kashmir, and with the major part of the diaspora from Pakistan in the UK, from Kashmir, belonging to Kashmir. And what Lord Ahmed very rightly said, that the part being played by the expatriates in Pakistan in keeping the economy of Pakistan afloat with billions of dollars of remittances, earned through their hard work, by toiling through day and night, by burning their midnight oil. We back home, let me assure you, ladies and gentlemen, that we are very, very mindful, very, very cognizant of the problems being faced by the expatriate Pakistani diaspora in Britain. And during this visit, I have been meeting the relevant quarters in the UK government and the various police heads of the various police forces in UK. And we have agreed and we plan to implement a strategy immediately when I reach back home for creating an environment in which the grievances, the complaints of the community hailing from Azad Jammu and Kashmir and residing in Britain or even in some other places is given a very, very preferential treatment because of their great sacrifices and services for Pakistan. And we are going to give you through the media, inshallah, when I reach home, the email addresses, the telephone numbers, the fax numbers, so that the complaints coming from this community are directly sent to my office. And let me tell you, sir, I assure you, and I promise and pledge from the floor of this gathering today, in the presence of both the lordships, that I will personally ensure that those grievances are inquired into and resolved on an extremely fast-track basis. We shall also be sharing your problems. We shall also ensure that the better security is provided to this community when they visit Pakistan. And also their properties, their interests back home and their relatives back home, they are provided with ample security so that this community here can work with peace of mind, can perform their duties in a better manner here and serve Pakistan's cause. And also add to Pakistan's economy in the best possible manner. And the way you people here have really kept the Kashmir cause alive on an international basis and all international fora. I really am very, very thankful to you that Kashmir, which is the lifeline of Pakistan, you are the people who have really kept the issue alive and who are keeping the light burning on this end. In the end, I would again thank Lord Nazir Ahmed, Lord Qurban Hussain, Barrister Abid Hussain, the representatives of the media, all the Christian community and all those who are present here for coming to this occasion and for joining us here and giving you a very valuable time in the interest of Pakistan. Pakistan.
Thank you very much. My final thank yous to everyone, but in particular the Pakistani media here in London for coming here at a very short notice. And all of you are here, and I'm really, really indebted to you. And thank you very much. Your presence, Mohsen Balal, to Asif Dar, to everyone right from the Dunya TV, Venus TV, ARY News, UK Time, all of you, please, if I forgive me if I don't mention.
Don't forget 786.
786, of course. TV 786, because I know that the camera, the microphone is not here today, but I don't forget it. Thank you to everyone, if I have not mentioned you, because it's very important, your support today, because we are remembering our Christian friend and his contribution and his sacrifice. And that's why it's important that all of us together, the Pakistani diaspora, the Pakistani leaders and the IG Sahab, all of us with parliamentarians, that we were sharing our grief and also looking at the problems and how we can make Pakistan a stronger place by eliminating some of these problems. Thank you so much.